Hi guys, welcome to video number 4 in this series where I'm building a login registration system with CodeIgniter. In this video what I'll be doing is building the form validation, and we're going to talk a little bit about custom callbacks too, which is a kind of cool little way that I found that we can do some more heavy duty validation, some more customizable validation. So you can take this technique and use it in your own projects as well. Okay, so what we have here is a form that's actually submitting to a controller or a function in the main controller called login_validation. So right here you can see there's nothing there, nothing happening. So we can actually do our validation here. First thing we want to do is load the form validation library. So we'll go this, load library form_validation. Perfect. Next thing we want to do is we can start setting rules for our inputted data. So we can go this form validation, set rules. And this will be for the email field. So this will correspond to the actual name right here. The second is the actual title of it. So like the viewable title. So in this case, it would just be same thing, email, except with a capital E. And the third parameter is I guess it's an appended string of all the different types of validation that will be performing on this variable. So in this case, I'll start off with just putting required, and we'll leave that the way it is. Now we can just copy this. I'm using a Notepad++, so that's just Control D, but you can copy and paste the line as well. Second, we'll go password, name it password, and then it will be required. And we'll also, what we do is we use the straight up line, up and down line. It's like right above the enter button. Shift, and then it's like the shift and then whatever / is, or / sorry. And then we type in MD5, which will encrypt the password field to an MD5 value. And lastly, after we've set our rules, we go if this form validation run. So if it runs, this run function will only return true if all of the rules have been verified. So in this case, we want to say load the members page, right? So we'll go this. Actually, we'll redirect to main/members. Okay. Else, if it doesn't return true, that means the value that means the validation failed. What we want to do is we'll just load the view again. We'll go this load the login view. Sorry, login. Okay, so let's try this out. They're both required. So basically, if either one of them is blank and submitted blank, it'll throw an error. And actually, one more thing we want to do really quick is go echo validation errors. And it's important to note that this function is part of the form helper, not the form validation helper, or the form validation library. So it doesn't need to be loaded up here or auto-loaded at all because it's part of the form helper, which has been auto-loaded. So we can save this view, make sure everything's saved, and then refresh it. Okay, so it passed because we did put in 2 different parameters. So what we can actually do is we'll create a new function in the main controller. Function, and then we'll call this members. Essentially, this is just a function that's loading the view of members. View. Perfect. Next, we can actually go ahead and create the members view, just so we have it there. Go into the views, and then we'll just copy everything from login, all the HTML syntax. Create a new file, call it members.php. Open her up, paste it, delete all of our login specific code. Call this members page. Perfect. Refresh this, and there we have our members page being loaded. Good. Now we can actually, yeah, we'll just remove this because, no, I'll leave it there. Save it up, and then go back to our main controller. Now let's see what happens if the validation doesn't pass. So we'll just go back to our login page, or the root URL. Say hello@welcome.com, and we'll leave this blank. If I submit that, that validation errors function is going to output any errors that are thrown by the form validation validation, I guess. So if I leave the email field or both of them empty, it's going to give me 2 errors. And this is done all automatically when we set our rules. This is extremely powerful, and it's an extremely quick way to do form validation because, especially when you're working in things like MySQL and things like that, because as soon as you are using CodeIgniter in the first place to handle your variables and that kind of thing, it escapes all your values. It does most of the security and things like that for you, so you don't need to worry about it. But there is a couple more things that we can, on that topic, we can add to this string, different functions that'll be performed on this variable as it's submitted to improve the security. One of those is trim. I'm sure you're familiar with that function if you've done any type of form validation in native PHP. Another thing we want to do, especially for the email field, is perform XSS_clean. And I believe that this is a CodeIgniter function. Essentially what it does is it just prevents cross-site scripting, and beefs up the security on your login form quite a bit. And I think for now that's about it. In the next video I'll talk about, we'll build a model for our login, which will essentially just check and see if the credentials are okay. And yeah, thanks for watching.